Hello and welcome to a very special edition of GBN Royal. And I'm here in the beautiful town of Tobermory on the Isle of Mull, the most amazing weather the Prince and Princess of Wales have had for their 14th wedding anniversary. I've been covering them here and I'm joined by Deputy Royal Editor, aren't you, for GBN Digital? Doc, welcome. Unfortunately, your beautiful view isn't as good as mine, I'm afraid. Sorry about that.
I know, I'm very jealous. How is it in Scotland?
Yeah, it's really lovely. And do you know what's really nice? It's for locals who are just so kind of welcoming to the Prince and Princess or Duke and Duchess of Rothesay, I should say, since they're in Scotland, or the Lord and Lady of the Isles, whichever way you want to put it. But they just seem to be treating them as normal everyday people, which I think when you go to an engagement in London, for example, they're treated as these kind of amazing celebrity figures, which of course they are. But I think what was particularly poignant yesterday is a few ladies were coming up to me and talking about their memories of seeing the Prince and Princess like 20 years ago when they were here as university students. And William actually says in the final engagement yesterday that he thought he kept that very much secret and under wraps, but was proved incredibly wrong when he arrived in Tobermory.
But at least the locals in Tobermory sort of kept it a secret. Like we didn't know this over the past 20 years, and we only found this out yesterday when the Lord and Lady of the Isles arrived, which was just so lovely. I mean, what a lovely thing to do on your 14th wedding anniversary, to return to a place where your romance started. I mean, it's so romantic. I'm such a romantic at heart, so I loved it.
Yeah, and I think we see kind of a modern twist for the Prince and Princess as well, because they stayed in a self-catered cottage, like, just overnight last night, suggesting that they don't have to be in a palace or a big castle or something. And I'm sure there's one or two of them on the island who are just happy cooking an anniversary tea like the rest of us.
Well, and they wanted to really understand how people live in the Isles of Mull and Iona. They really wanted to get an understanding of how the locals actually live, which really came through, I thought, in their choice to stay in a self-catering cottage. And, lest we forget, their romance started at university, where they would have been living in university halls and then moving into a house together. So that, they would have had to have been doing their own food shops and cooking. And I'm sure, now they have a lot of help with that. But of course, 20 years ago, that's what they were doing. So it's going back to the bread and butter of their relationship, really. And what a lovely thing to do. 2 nights away from the kids, away from the school run, and just to be together. I mean, I can't think of anything better, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were spotted kind of shopping in the Co-op, I think, 20 years ago as well, which was just, just something you don't expect from the future king and queen. But also, of course, them staying in the self-catered apartment shows the kind of, well, actually, as well, away even from a self-catered apartment, them going to Aros Hall, which is one of the community halls which is being renovated, funded by the charity that they run, the Royal Foundation. We got to see some of their DIY skills. I think Prince William had a nail gun at one point, and the Princess was painting a wall. Do you think they did a bit of that at university as well?
Potentially. I mean, they're both very, country bumpkins, kind of loving living in Windsor. And I'm sure that they, are doing a lot of their own DIY at the weekends. I mean, their home, Adelaide Cottage, is just a 4-bedroom cottage, so I doubt they have live-in staff. So they're probably doing a lot of these things themselves. Catherine actually said yesterday that she was gifted a chainsaw at Christmas.
Oh, wow.
We don't know if it was a member of the Middleton family or a member of the royal family or a friend, but I mean, wow, that just says it all. Like I was getting earrings and, like she was getting a chainsaw. So I think that just says everything you need to know. That's what she wanted, for Christmas. And yeah, so she probably is doing a lot of these DIY things herself.
And she certainly was dressed for the occasion as well. Let's talk about their fashion, Dot, because it was very casual. I think the princess was wearing some kind of tweed jacket and some hiking boots. Mm-hmm. Not long princessy dresses. There was one toddler which was very disappointed that she wasn't wearing a princess dress. But I mean, what do you think of the outfits that they were having? Because I thought they looked amazing.
I mean, they walked out and they were wearing coordinated tweed. That was the first thing I thought. It's their 14th wedding anniversary and they're matching their outfits, and that's amazing. We all love to see that. The blazer was from Holland Cooper. It's new. £549 if royal fans want to stretch out and purchase that lovely blazer. A shirt from Bowden, which you said last time that was your favourite shop as a child.
Yeah. Well, my mum gave me the catalogue and not yeah.
And hiking boots, that she's owned actually since 2019. So a mix of new items and old items. She was actually wearing two necklaces from Daniela Draper, that had the initials G, C and L for, of course, Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis. So despite the kids not being there, she was keeping them close to her heart. I'm sure there was a FaceTime later on in the evening when they got home. So yeah, I thought she looked great. As for the young boy who was upset, or young girl, I'm not sure who was upset that, Princess Catherine wasn't wearing a dress. I think people have made that point before. I think recently, a few months ago, she went to, I think it was the National Portrait Gallery in London, and she was wearing a trouser and blazer combo. And I think sometimes kids want to see a princess. They do want to see the dress. But I think for an engagement like yesterday, where they were, looking at lambs and in the wildlife and in the countryside, you need to dress appropriately for the occasion. And I believe Catherine did that. And she, yes, she was wearing skinny jeans and a blazer and boots, but she was also wearing beautiful earrings that were over £800 that were just stunning. And, only a princess could wear them, right? And the necklaces, like I said, and she was wearing her engagement ring, which of course belonged to the late Princess Diana. So I thought she looked great.
Yeah, she was wearing practical stuff, wasn't she? I think the little girl was wearing a Disney princess outfit. So presumably her perception of a princess is that. But of course, Catherine is a modern day princess. But I do think they actually copied me slightly, because on the way back from covering the engagements at the Croft, which was the mini farm where they were, looking at the lambs and things, we stopped the car because it was such a beautiful landscape. And I took a picture of myself, on a hill overlooking the sea. And then lo and behold, an hour later, the pair of them did exactly the same thing, looking very loved up on the shores of the Isle of Mull. So yeah, we're just putting it out there. Maybe I inspired them.
They copied you. They copied you. 100%.
Yeah. But it was a lovely image.
Who's that boy?
Yeah. But it was a lovely image for them, wasn't it? Because we saw them being quite intimate. It was kind of a private moment which they chose to share with the public.
It was lovely, facing away from the camera, just looking out onto the sea or the river. I'm very bad at geography. I'm not sure which one it was. But just the sea. There we go. I just thought they just looked so loved up. 14 years. I remember I was in school. I had the day off school for their wedding. I remember it so well. And I just, looking at them now, and three children later, I think the picture said it all, really. It didn't have to be a big show of their love. It was just them, sharing an embrace, looking away from the camera, when you look at that picture, you just imagine the 14 years that they've spent together, married, and obviously a decade longer dating, and just thinking, wow, this relationship has really stood the test of time. They've been through so much. A brutal year last year with Catherine's chemotherapy, and obviously Prince William having his father going through cancer treatment as well. They've been through so much, but they've survived it all. So I thought it was lovely.
They have. And I think today has very much got nature at its heart, hasn't it? New funding with Prince William's United for Wildlife, funding to what are they called? Rangers to protect the natural environment. I'm going to see the princess and the prince hanging out with lots of young school children. Of course, something very close to the princess's heart in particular, finding solace in nature, but also early childhood development.
Yes. So, the Royal Foundation is great in terms of they're very specific about what they decide to support and what they decide to give funding to. And I think these issues are close to both of their hearts. Prince William has often spoken about, rangers and all of the, problems that they face. He has been very open about that. And of course, Catherine as well with the early years. I think it's something that unites both of them on this issue. Like I say, I always look at the fashion, but when you actually notice them and notice what Catherine's wearing, then you look at what they're actually doing. And so by them traveling to the Isles of Mull and Iona, we're now thinking, why are they there? What is their foundation supporting now? And they read into it. And where did they visit yesterday? Was it Arras Hall?
Yeah.
And they're supporting the renovation of that. And so they're showing why that's important and why it's so important to the locals and the community there. So I thought, it was really they're very intentional by what they choose to support.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dot. I think every engagement is very deliberate to have what William always describes as a tangible impact, something that we're going to leave a legacy behind following the visit. So although they're only there for an hour, the legacy that they've left, the DIY they've done, the funding they've given is going to have a lasting impact for that local community, for a number of years. So, but let's take a look at just a little highlights of day one of the Prince and Princess of Wales's visit. So take a look.
The Lord and Lady returned to their isles, specifically to Mull, where they once spent a secret holiday as students.
Prince William and Kate were here when they were younger. When they were at uni, they came up here for a few days' holiday.
And we were out for a walk and they were in the garden having a barbecue, I think, with their friends, and they spoke. They just said it's a lovely evening and we agreed.
20 years later, on their 14th wedding anniversary, Prince William and Catherine revisited Tobermory with community close to their hearts. Their charity is funding the redevelopments of 2 halls for locals to spend more time together. And they weren't afraid to get stuck into DIY themselves. Tobermory is used to visitors of a different kind, ordinary tourists from around the world, but today's royal VIPs have changed this usually tranquil haven into a buzzing hive of excitement.
Oh, wow. You can't smell the heather in it. It's brilliant, it's a lavender.
Which is the most popular? Muller. Is it this one? Yeah.
After sampling soap, cheese and wine were next on the menu at Mull's Artisan Market. Then they visited a croft on the west side of the island.
How friendly are they?
50 acres to grow sustainable food for its restaurant, and William and Catherine helped cook a haggis feast. Owners Jeanette and Jack guided them around their land.
It was quite overwhelming. We've been, preparing for it for a while, and it's been a great couple of weeks. More than that, just in the build-up, in the run-up to it, and it's been great.
It's been kind of hectic, but there's been lots of people around mucking in. Lots of friends and neighbours, so it's been quite a galvanising experience.
Today, the royal couple heads to a local forest, highlighting new funding for rangers in the area, protecting the natural environment where both found solace during a challenging year. Cameron Walker, GB News, in Tobermory.
So that's it for the Prince and Princess of Wales's tour of the Inner Hebrides. Of course, they're going to be back in London next week for VE Day, so maybe Dot, the princess will wear a dress then. What do you think?
Oh yeah, she'll be wearing a dress. She'll be wearing probably a big hat designed by Philip Tracy and all the jewels that you can imagine, probably worn by Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana. So we can come back and do another video talking about hopefully a dress.
Absolutely, I'm sure we will. And not that I'm reducing the Princess of Wales to what she's wearing, but of course it is, good at giving the wider context of what a lot of people are talking about online. So yes, we look forward to that, Dot. This has been Cameron Walker for GBM Royal. Dot, I'll let you say goodbye as well.
Thank you, everybody. This is Dot Redden from gbnews.com, and thanks for listening.
See you next time.